everyone, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. In today's video I will be making this Mccalls M7962 top. It's the View B with the gorgeous ruffle, but I have hacked it to include shirring detail on the back. I do mention at the start of this video also making matching shorts that are with the pattern, but actually I've got so much footage for this video that I'm going to split it into a part 1 and a part 2, so the shorts will be coming in a part 2. But yeah, for now I hope you enjoy watching my journey of making this top. I really love it. I do mention that there was a couple of fitting issues with it that were mine, nothing to do with the pattern, but now that I've made this wearable toile I will definitely be making it again and learning from the mistakes that I made. So yeah, I hope you enjoy watching, and if you have or you're going to make this top yourself, then do let me know how you get on, and what fabric have you made it in. And did you make any hacks to it like I did? So I've added shirring, as I said, instead of the zip. But yeah, I will stop waffling and let's get on with the video. Hello. So I thought I would chat to you quickly while I am ironing my fabric for this project. So you will have seen that I've already read the instructions and I have cut out my pattern pieces. Now this is the first time that I'm even touching this fabric since it's been dried, and I've already made a mistake. Luckily not with the fabric. I'm just giving this a quick once over, partly because I absolutely hate ironing, so I can never be bothered to do it properly, and also because it just gets so creased anyway whilst you're sewing it, that I just want to give it a quick once over before I cut my pieces out. Now, the mistake that I've made is that I bought my sewing pattern in the wrong size. Excellent. So this is my sewing pattern. It's completely my fault, entirely, and it's sizes 4 to 12. Now, based on my measurements, I am a 14 for the top and a 16 for the shorts, and obviously this goes up to a 12, so that's not very good. Looking at the finished garment measurements, I think I'll be okay. Now, I'm doing this view here, which is view B, and it's designed to have a zip in the back. Now, I had already planned, before I'd even made this mistake, I'd already planned that I was going to add a section into the back and then put shirring in instead of a zip, partly because, one, it's really hard to do a zip up behind your back, so you rely on somebody else being around to do the zip up for you. And also I just think that that's more comfortable for a top, especially a fitted top like this one. I just think it's a bit more comfortable to have a bit of movement in it. So my measurements are bust 35.5, waist 28 and hip 40. Which, yeah, as I said, that should be a top 14, bottom 16. Now, I'll put my measurements on screen so that you've got them to compare to, but the top finished garment measurements, a 12, which is the biggest that I can do in the pattern that I've got, is actually a 36.5 inch, and obviously I'm 35.5 inch, so that gives me an inch of room. But actually, because I'm adding the shirring in, I'm not bothered by that at all. I'm just going to add a good couple of inches in to add a couple of inches overall to the pattern size, and I think I'll get away with that without any issue at all. I'm going to give that a go. I'll finish ironing this and then I will lay my pattern pieces down and begin to cut. I've got about an hour before I'm heading out for lunch this afternoon. So I'd like to get this cut out if I can. Well, an hour before I need to start getting ready to go out, get everything sorted. So yeah, hopefully I can get this cut out before I go out for lunch, and then when I come back later I can begin to sew. This fabric, by the way, is from Dunelm, which is a sort of homeware shop here in, I think it's in the UK, not just England. And it was £7 a metre, but looking at it on my ironing board, it's not actually very wide. I've got 2 metres here, and I probably need about 3, realistically, as per the pattern, but let's see if I can actually get it out of 2. We'll see. Need to do some clever jiggery pokery. But yeah, that's it ironed as much as I'm going to do for now. So let's get on to cutting. Hello everyone, so I'm back. It's a little later on now, it's just gone 5 o'clock. So I went out for lunch, it was lovely. Then I nipped to Hobbycraft, obviously. I picked up some elastic just for scrunchies and things because I need to make a ton more. I picked up some bias tape, just some thin bias that I'm going to use on my outfit that I'm making with you today. So on this spotty fabric, I think I said, but it mentioned to line this fabric, so the pieces you cut them out twice, etc. But because it's spotty and it's white, when I was like having one piece of fabric over another, you could see the spots through, even if it was like right side to wrong side, like this. You can't really see it on camera now, but in person you can definitely see the black spots through, and I didn't really want that effect, so I'm basically just going to bias bind it, but not how you bias bind it so you can still see it on the outside. I'm going to basically use it as like a like a facing, like you would do a facing, so sew it and then tuck it in and then sew it down. Basically is a really lazy way of doing it, and it's not right at all, but that's how I'm doing this one, just because of the fabric. If I had something that wasn't quite as sheer, or was maybe just like a solid colour, like a solid purple or something like that, then I wouldn't need to do that, I could line it. But yeah, then moving on, similarly, I got some white, I think it's polycotton because it was only £4 a metre, so white cotton or polycotton, pretty certain it's polycotton, to use for lining, because I do want to make this outfit in other fabrics. Now I could line this one in white, but one, I've only just brought this and I haven't pre-washed it, so I can't be bothered to wait, and also I do want this white one to be a really lightweight outfit. I want to be able to wear it in the summer when it's really hot, so I don't actually want a lined outfit. So I'm going to get cracking with the sewing now. I think I'm going to do this shirring. Let me just pop you onto my tripod. This is my centre back piece, and it said to cut 2, obviously the size of the pattern, but what I did was I folded my fabric in half, lined this up here, and it's on a slight diagonal, so it doesn't look like it quite matches here, but it actually, I did measure it right basically. And what I've done is I've cut an extra 3 inches on the fold, so it's an extra 6 inches of total. And what that's going to allow me to do is, this is my back centre piece, and I'm going to shirr along this, just for fitting reasons. So this would ordinarily be 6 inches shorter, and it would have a gap down the middle for a zip fastening. But yeah, I'm going to do my shirring, so I've added 6 inches extra, but I think I'm going to do my shirring around 8 inches just for aesthetic reasons, and then obviously it can extend out to this amount, but it'll be much shorter. So yeah, I think that's gonna work. So I'm gonna just crack on and do my 8-inch shirring along the back. I will probably leave around 3/8 to half of an inch between each gap of shirring, maybe a little bit less, maybe like 1/4 of an inch perhaps, between each row of shirring, and hopefully that works. So I need to hand wind my bobbin in the dress that I just made with shirring, and it had it all the way round the bust of the dress. So every second row I was having to or every third row really, I was having to hand wind my bobbin again because it had run out. Hopefully, because this is such a short amount of space that I'm doing, it'll last a little bit longer. Hopefully I'll have to do it only sort of 2 or 3 times. But yeah, once I've shirred it on the back piece, I will then start constructing the top. So let's get cracking. Okay, so I am just about to set my machine up for shirring. I've got my bobbin, it's not actually full. I had some of this left over from last time, so I'm just going to see how far I get with it. Realistically, probably just 1 row. So I hand wound my bobbin for shirring. I've got no normal white thread at the top. I crank my tension right up to 9, which is the highest that it'll go, and I use the Brother LS14 machine. It's actually a very basic machine, which I think is great for beginners. I think it cost me around £80, £100, something like that. It was a few years ago now. So yeah, that's my machine all set up. So you basically treat the bobbin exactly the same as you would any other bobbin thread when you're popping it in. Make sure that you've got a nice tail on it. Yeah, and just crack the tension up. Set the stitch length to the longest that it'll go as well, and then find your piece and we'll get cracking. Ooh, okay, so that was a stint of sewing. It is 7:15, so it's 2 hours since I last spoke with you, and this is what I've done. So I decided this is the back, just the back piece of the top, and I don't know that it's really picking it up on this camera, but basically I've decided to share the whole piece. So I was just going to share the 8 inches, and I started doing that. Oh, there you go, you can see that it's super stretchy now. Yeah, I was just going to share the 8 inches across the middle. When I started doing that, I was about 6 rows in, and I realised actually that's not sharing it enough at all for what I wanted. It wasn't creating the effect that I wanted, and it looked quite random. Starting in the middle of the piece of fabric, and I was struggling to get them all starting exactly in the same place. So yeah, it just looked quite weird. So actually I decided it would be better to share this whole back panel. And I'm really glad that I did that. I have given it a press. I've given it an iron. You really can't see how shared it is. Maybe you can there actually. Yeah, I've given it an iron, so it's pulled it all together nicely. Yeah, so let's crack on. Okay, so I've just stitched along the side seam here. Just remember as well, actually, when you're switching from shirring, if that's what you're doing, to normal stitching, remember to change your tension back on your sewing machine. Obviously change your bobbin, and change your stitch length as well. I almost forgot, but I did remember. So just having a quick look at the instructions. Ugh. Okay, so for top A and B, the first instructions, obviously shirring isn't part of the instructions for this top because it's not a part of the pattern. So I've just done that and got it out of the way so that when we get to that part of the pattern, then I am good to go. So yeah, so the very first instruction is side front and side back. For each side, stitch side front section to side back section at shoulders. Remaining side front and side back sections will be used as lining. Okay, so I obviously haven't got that lining, so I just need to stitch the front to the back on the side sections. It's fine. that's easy enough. I do need to, I've left myself all of the rubbish jobs for this piece, for this job, project, whatever. I need to rethread my overlocker, and my overlocker takes 4 thread spools. I've got the Brother Lock 2104D, and I've lost a thread spool. Honestly, how I lose so many things, I have no idea. And it's so random because I took all 4 of the white spools, which is what I need to put on my overlocker. I obviously took all 4 of them off together, and now I only have 3. And I haven't found the 4th one. I lost it a really long time ago. It just so happens that the last few projects that I've used my overlocker for, I've used black thread. But I do have a spare one that came with the overlocker. It's just not quite as good thread, I don't think. Or do I just leave one of them black? I could possibly just leave one of them black because this is black and white anyway. Don't think I could get away with them all being black. Could I? No, I won't. I'll change 3 and I'll leave 1 black, I think. And then I'm going to sew my shoulders together at the top. So let me just switch my overlocker thread and then I'll catch back up with you. Okay, so it's a bit chaotic over here now, but I've done that thing where, as you can see, this is black thread here, but is connected to the white spool. So I've just sort of tied them together. So it was black originally, it's white now. Apart from this one that I'm going to keep as black, as I said, because I can't find my 4th white spool. But yeah, I'm just going to run this through and check that it works. Yeah, that worked actually. Wow, that is so much easier than like rethreading your whole colour. What a fantastic idea that is. So yeah, that's primarily white now, apart from the one that runs straight through the middle. That one is still black, but actually I'm happy with that. So I'm going to crack on and attach the shoulders. Yeah, attach the shoulder seams. Okay, so I've got my shoulders, I've got my shoulders attached at the front and the back. So next it was something to do with the flounces, so I'm going to have a little look. So the flounce for view B is the next instructions, and it says, stitch front flounce to back flounce its shoulders, matching notches and triangles. I realised that I actually hadn't done my notches and triangles, but I do keep my pattern pieces with like each piece of the fabric, so I will just add my notches as I go. Finish short ends of flounce with a 5/8 inch narrow hem. Okay, that's fine. Stitch a 1/4 inch from long curved edge of flounce using long machine stitches as shown. Turn up at 5/8 inch hem at lower edge of flounce. Turn and under on raw edge, pull thread to ease in fullness stitch. Stay stitch notched edge of flounce. I hate it when instructions are so wordy. Okay, so let's do number 1. Stitch front flounce to back flounce its shoulders, matching notches and triangles. Let's do that first. Does anyone ever feel like they always need about 20 times the amount of space that they actually have when they're sewing? I make so much mess. Okay, so the big edges are the shoulders. So here's me like, I'm gonna put the notches in. And I don't. And then I struggle like this. Goodness me. Is it that way? Yeah, so they sort of like go over each other like that, I think. I think that's the right way. Don't quote me on that, because I don't know. I think it makes sense that they go that way. She says now, let's see. Cute. Cute. Okay. That was right then. Lovely. So I have two little ruffles now. I've never made ruffles like that before, cutting them out on the circle. I've seen it done on like a, yeah, cutting them round. I like it. Okay, finish short ends of flounce with a 5-inch narrow hem. Okay. I'm going to overlock the ends and then I'm going to hem them after. Okay. Let's get going. Okay. So stitch a 1/4 inch from long curved edge of flounce using long machine stitches as shown. Stitch a 1/4 inch from long curved edge of flounce using long machine stitches as sewn. Okay, I'm not even going to read the next step of the instructions because it'll confuse me. So I'm simply going to do as it says and then I'll see what they want me to do next. I'm loving these ruffles. Oh, we're playing bobbin chicken. I don't know why, but when I'm playing bobbin chicken, I feel like if I sew faster, the bobbin will last longer. Oh, I think it's gone. Yeah, it's gone. Ah, damn. Okay. It's fine. I'll just pause this whilst I wind my bobbin. Okay, we are back on it. Okie dokie, what's next? Turn up 5/8 inch hem at lower edge of flounce. This makes no sense. Turn up 5/8 inch hem at lower edge of flounce, turning under a 1/4 inch on a raw edge, on raw edge. Pull thread to ease in fullness, stitch. Stay stitch notched edge of flounce. Turn up 5/8 inch hem at lower edge of flounce. Oh, I think I've hemmed the other end of the flounce and I didn't need to. Did I? What am I meant to be doing with that flounce? I'm really confused by this. I think Paige Joanna did a version of this top, but she did, I think she did view C but I want to say she did ruffles. So I'm going to quickly look for her YouTube and see if she went over this ruffle part. Because to me, I've done like a long stitch on the outer edge of the ruffle. Surely I just need to hem that. Is that not right? I don't know. Let me go see. Hello. So I'm back. I couldn't find anything online, any tutorials or anything about people that have made ruffles like this. And I just couldn't make head nor tail of what the instructions were saying, which I know isn't completely uncommon for the sort of top 4, top 5 pattern company instructions. So what I've done is I've basically just tried to use my initiative a little bit, and I'm quite happy with it. I'm not entirely sure what it actually wanted me to do, but essentially what I've done is I've just folded it over twice so that it's actually got a hem around the outside. I've then stay stitched the inside of the flounce, and then I've trimmed it so that it can actually go straight, and I think I'm going to call it a night for now. My eyes are just getting tired. I think I've just been sewing for a long time and I haven't been wearing my glasses, so yeah, I'm going to call it a night for now. It's about 8:30. Obviously feels like I've been sewing forever today, but I've been having lots of breaks in between, going and making cups of tea, letting the dogs out, went for lunch, went to shop, etc. So yeah, I haven't made the top today. I wanted to make the top and the shorts today, but obviously that was a little too much for the time that I had. But I'm quite happy. I've made the like accessory side of the top, so the front and back pieces are together at the shoulder. I've got the ruffles that need to go on there. I've got my back piece, which has obviously got loads of shirring detail on it, which takes a million years. Obviously if I hadn't done that, then I'd be like 2 hours ahead of where I am at the moment. My other front piece with the, well, like shoulder piece, and then these are my 2 front pieces as well. So actually, I don't think I've got an awful lot to do tomorrow. I would say that I'll get the top done, I'm going to say in 2 hours tomorrow, but we'll see. So I'm going to get up in the morning and do that, and obviously I'll bring you along with me. I'm going to have a tidy, I need to hoover upstairs, make a cup of tea, yeah, and then get into bed and look at this again with fresh eyes tomorrow and hopefully finish it quite quickly. So I'll catch you then. Thanks, bye-bye. Hello, good morning. So it's obviously a new day, it's Sunday now, and I've just got ready and I really want to finish this top now. So yesterday where we got to was I hemmed the ruffle on each of them, I trimmed the little notches into them so that they can be sewn on to the top front. I'm losing everything now. Okay, so what we are left with is my back panel that's been shirred from yesterday. I've got a front and back panel twice. They are slightly different, and stupidly I didn't... Oh, did I put my notches in? I did put my notches into these, so I've got my back and my front, assuming that they do 2 notches for the back. I'll have to just double check that. And then my back and my front again. And then I've got... I think this is my front panel. So basically I just need to attach my side pieces to my front piece, my back piece, and add the ruffles on. So I think I'm going to add the ruffles now, because they need to go on first. I was following the instructions, but now the instructions are talking about adding a zip into the back, which obviously I'm not doing, and they're then talking about adding the lining, which again I'm not doing. So I am going to freestyle this a little bit, so apologies if you are coming to this to watch it how it should be sewn, because that's never what I do. I just thought I'd show you, by the way. So this is the back. This is the front. Obviously this is the armhole section here, and this is the front seam, and this is the seam that the ruffles go down, so the front one here, not the one with the armholes on, just in case you needed some clarity on that one. But yeah, I'll carry on pinning. Obviously where we've cut the ruffle on a circle, the ruffle just wants to stay in a circle, So it's as you're straightening it up down that line that it actually creates those ruffles, because the fabric bunches up and creates the effect for you. So yeah, I think it looks great. Okay, so once those ruffles are attached, they look a little something like this. And now it says to just stay stitch it, which I'm going to do, obviously following the instructions. And then, yeah, as we come to add the binding, which is what I'm going to do, like a facing, that's when you'll properly attach it then. But yeah, I think it looks great so far. Okay, so I've done my ruffles on these bits here, and I'm ready to add my shirring panel to the back of both of those. I'm going to attach this via the overlocker to that. But obviously what I'm planning on doing is adding bias as a facing, as I've mentioned a couple of times, but I think bias facing is going to be too thick to add to this panel. I think it's going to take away from the shirring. So what I've done instead is, if that will focus, okay, you can't really see, but I've overlocked the edge and I'm just going to hem it now. So I've overlocked it obviously with the overlocker, and I'm just going to hem it with my normal machine on a normal stitch, just to fold that edge down. I do like the wavy edge that's created when you hem obviously the edge of shirring. I do quite like that, a bit like that one down the bottom, you can see it more. So yeah, just going to hem that and then we'll attach it. Okay, so that's all finished. Obviously it created that wavy effect, as I mentioned. I did stretch out my fabric as I sewed it, because obviously you don't want to sew straight across the shirring because then it won't stretch. So you want to sew it whilst it's extended. And yeah, now I'm just going to match this up to the back panels on my top and attach it, which I think should be fairly easy, but we'll see. So this is the back, which is where it needs to go. So my ruffle, my shirring, and what we're doing is we're sandwiching that ruffle in between the back panel and the back panel, really, the side back panel and the shirring back panel. And then yeah, I'm going to overlock this in. So that looks like that now. So that's the back. Obviously I need to finish these edges here around this ruffle, which I'll do later. Okay, so yeah, so I've got my back panel here. This is the ruffle, and the back ruffle, which is this side, needs to be attached to the shirring on the other side of the back. So along this edge here, so we'll take the front of the back ruffle to the shirring. You want to do right sides together. So shirring right side at the bottom, back side panel at the bottom, matching up your notches, which I haven't added, but yeah, you want to just pin those together. Okay, so this is my shirring back panel here, and this is pinned, ow, I just stabbed myself, to the back panel, the side back panel, pinned to that with the ruffle in between. So let's get that overlocked. Okay, let's see how that looks. Let's hope it's nice and equal. Okay, yeah, the ruffles look pretty equal actually. Nice. And we now need to do the same with the front. So we've got a front panel that needs to be inserted in the middle. Obviously this is our back, this is our front, and we've got our front panel. So I'm going to do exactly the same as what I just did. So this is our front panel here. It's slightly wider at the top than what it is at the bottom, as you can see. So I'm going to flip it. This is my front left-hand panel. So I'm going to match up the bottom. I'm all fingers and thumbs. So bottom of my front left panel, I'm going to match up with the bottom of the left-hand side of the front panel. That should make sense. And just pin those together. So basically pinned in place. So we've got our left-hand side front panel here. This is our middle front panel, and they are pinned in place right sides together with the ruffle in between. So we can't see the ruffle when they're pinned. It's not poking out or anything like that. So let's get this sewn. So now that we've unfolded that, the ruffles are a lot. You can now see right side out, we've got our front panel, we've got our side panel, and we've got the ruffle in between, which will sort of sit like that. Actually, as it's on, as you're wearing it, the ruffle will actually sit better because the fabric will be pulled in the right direction. So I'm going to do exactly the same. So I'm going to take my right hand side front panel with my ruffle and match it up right sides together with this front panel. I won't record this again, but it's exactly the same, just on the other side. So this looks a little bit more like it now. So this is the front and this is the back. I love it. I think what I'm going to do, whilst I can still get it flat like this, so this is the inside, whilst I can still get it flat like this, I think I'm going to put the bias tape in, because I can still get into the armholes lovely, so I'm going to add that in there. I'm not going to add it down the side seams for the, like the side seams of the garments, because they're going to be overlocked together. I'm going to add it into the end here. Obviously I've already hemmed the shirt bit, so that's fine. I can, I shouldn't have lined that up quite as much, but it's fine. I can do something to fix that. Yeah, and then the necklines as well, I can add it in. Bias tape, I got a thin one on purpose. So I will just be adding it to the right side of the fabric like this, sewing it really, really close to the edge, and then folding all of that over so that the tape is on the inside, and sewing it down, then you won't be able to see it from the outside, if that makes sense at all. So yeah, I'm just going to crack on and do that. Okay, so just show you where I'm at. So I've stitched a bias tape to the outside of one armhole. I haven't done them all yet. So this is the inside, this is the outside, the bias tape is here, stitched really close to the edge. And then what I'll do is I will just take the bias tape like this and fold it all the way to the inside, concealing that stitch and the bias tapes that is on the inside like that. And again, stitch it with nice and close to the edge, basically. But yeah, I'm going to get all of my edges done first, and then I'll probably go and iron them all, and then stitch them down. So yeah, quick way of finishing it if it works, I think. So all of my seams are finished like this, with the binding on the inside and then some top stitching on the outside, which you actually can't quite see. I did also top stitch my ruffles. Where are my ruffles? Here. Which again, I don't really think that you can see on video because it's white stitching on white. But actually I really liked the idea that it gave. If you didn't want to top stitch your ruffles, you could have turned the bias or the facing or whatever to the inside, and then I think you could have just stitched underneath the ruffles, not catching the ruffles in the stitches, and I think that would have been fine. But yeah, I actually liked the way that it holds the ruffles down. I think it's going to make them sit a little better. I'm gonna just overlock the armholes, and then it'll be the moment of truth because I will try it on. The armholes match nicely, the notches match up, and the edges match up, so that's always a good sign. Okay, so I haven't actually ironed it yet. I said I would, but I haven't. I've thrown on some black trousers to go with it. Love it, it's gorgeous. However, it's far too big, which is just typical, isn't it? Because I've added all of the extra inches in. So yeah, really, really roomy. Far too big. Yeah, so I'm going to take it in a couple of inches on the side. I mean, I've still got all of the extra room for the shirring on the back that can stretch. So yeah, good couple of inches need coming off. So actually, maybe I didn't even need to alter the size at all. Maybe it is actually big enough because I do want this to be a fitted top. I don't want it to be moving around with it being cropped. I want it to sort of stay put. So yeah. Oh, my dog's just letting herself in, creaking the door. Yeah, gonna take a good couple of inches off, then I'll try it on again, and then I'll give it an iron. Okay, so it still needs that iron that I keep talking about. I do feel as though it's a little lopsided now. I feel as though this ruffle is in a slightly different place to this one. Is this one more far forward? I'm not sure, and I haven't taken anything off the front, so it's obviously just where I've altered it elsewhere. I took about an inch off of either side of the armhole. It has made the armhole ever so slightly too tight now, which I did think about, but I just went with it because the armholes did feel quite baggy. It's fine, they're absolutely fine, but they are just a little bit on the tight side as to where I'd actually want them, but on the whole they're okay. I have also taken about an inch out of the back where the shirring is. I took about an inch off of that, and yeah, actually it's fine. If it was a little bit longer, that's the only thing obviously that I haven't altered, but next time I will definitely make it a little bit longer. If that was the case, it would be absolutely perfect. I just need to iron it, and yeah, other than that I think I'm actually happy with it. So there we are. Thank you for watching today's video. As mentioned, there was a couple of fitting issues. My fault because I brought the wrong size pattern. I'm sure that if I bought this in the right size, then it would have fit absolutely perfectly. My only issue really is that it's ever so slightly tight under the arms, but actually there is still room. I do really enjoy it. I also wish I'd added an extra inch onto the bottom, so I'm going to go away now and add that to the pattern piece. In terms of the shirring on the back, I added 6 inches extra to allow for the shirring, and I probably could have got away with just 3 inches, I'd say, because I had all of the extra space when I first tried it on. So yeah, if I'd added an extra 3 inches and still shirred the whole of that back panel, I think it would have fit really nicely. It would have taken away 3 inches, which I would have been fine with this top being a little bit more baggy if it had a little more length. But because it is very short, a very short crop top, I wouldn't have liked it to have had much movement, sort of moving around. I like it to be really fitted, make sure it's staying where it should. Yeah, I love it. So I'm going to make the shorts now, which, as mentioned, I will make a part 2 for. And then I'm going to make it in a couple of other fabrics as well, with my adjustments. So make sure that you head over to my Instagram. I'll put the details down in the description box below, because I will post images of those, and as long as I make them this month in April, which I'm sure I will, then I will include them in my what I made in April video as well, coming at the end of April, beginning of May. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this sew along. It was the first sew along that I've done, I think, I'm pretty certain it was. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Do let me know if you did. Give me a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. I think I'm all filmed out. I've got about an hour 20 worth of footage to edit now to upload this video. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you like my top, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, bye bye.